This video will be a little bit different than my normal video book reviews, but I wanted to do a quick comparison of the 5 a.m. Club and Miracle Morning. So I read these two books this year and just wanted to talk about the difference between the two of them in case you're interested in the idea of waking up early and how that might change your life. So the 5 a.m. Club is written like a fictional story, and that took me a little bit by surprise since it's a nonfiction book. I just wasn't expecting that. And it gets a little silly and a little long and drawn out for what the final result is and what you learn. But some people might like that. I mean, if you like fiction, if you tend to like fiction and are wanting to read a book like this, it may be the right fit for you. I kept thinking while I was reading the 5 a.m. Club that it was very restrictive. You have to get up at 5 a.m. and you have to do these three things. And the three things are, that part's easy. It's 1 hour in the morning, but it was more just like how restrictive his teaching is. It has to be 5 a.m. And I kept thinking like, gosh, when I was younger, when my kids were babies, that would have been really hard for me to do. Or people who have a job, like, you know, with weird hours, like that just would be a really hard practice, I think. So I kept thinking that when I was reading it, but I was still just kind of curious about this idea of getting up early and kind of how it can change you and why it's recommended. So I then wanted to read The Miracle Morning, and I read that one next, and that one is very similar in the teaching as far as getting up early, but it's different. It's written as a normal nonfiction book. It seemed shorter and just easier to read. I read that one in about 10 days compared to about 30 days for the 5 a.m. Club. And I always read about 10 pages every morning. So it seemed like I read it a lot faster. And the approach is similar. Hal Elrod, the author of The Miracle Morning, is not as restrictive about you have to get up at 5 a.m. He says you have to work this into your life. So if you work a night job or whatever, he just teaches to get up an hour earlier than you normally would. And then to do actually 6 things. His approach it's similar, but he has 6 things. It's called savers. So silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and the last one is scripting, which is it's like journaling, but he needed an S. so it's savers, really easy to remember. And it just is more, I think, adaptable to most people's, I think just like to how most people function, because I have been practicing this since the beginning of the year, just getting up early and not even intentionally doing the things that they say to do in either book. Just I was getting up early to do an exercise program. So then I've kind of started working some of these things in. But some days I have to like leave right away after my exercise, or I just have something going on and it's really hard to do. So I take the approach of like fit the things in when I can. Try to do it in the morning and as early as possible. But if I can't, fit them in later in the day. So the only downside of The Miracle Morning to me was there's kind of like this constant upsell of his other products, which is not a bad thing. It's just something to know when you're reading it that he built a community. So it's not just about reading the one book. He has a Facebook community and he has a podcast and he has just all of these things that kind of like really to get people engaged with one another around The Miracle Morning and get, people excited about that and communicating with each other about it and learning from each other. And so he talks a lot about those things in the book. It's always like kind of, check out this thing or check out that thing. It's totally fine. It's just, you just know that going into it. Between the two, I found them both very inspirational, motivational. If you're interested in the idea, I would recommend The Miracle Morning over the 5 a.m. Club, unless you just really like the idea of the fictional writing style. So there it is, comparison of the two.